What's going on, everybody? I hope you guys are doing amazing. Today I have another POV video for you, but before we get started, I want to introduce you to somebody. This is the newest addition to my camera gear. It's the Fujifilm XE3, and I paired it with the TT Artisan 25mm f1.8. It's a manual focus lens, and it's equivalent to 37.5mm full frame, so a pretty versatile focal length. And I took it with me on my trip to Philly to do some street photography, and that's what this POV today is going to be about. I took it out. It was a challenge learning how to manual focus basically everything, but I do have to say that the manual focus assist in this camera definitely helped me out, especially in the morning hours. At night it was still a little bit of a struggle, but I mean, that's just how it is sometimes. It's definitely a learning curve, but spoiler alert, I like this camera. I mean, come on, look at it. It's tiny. Now tell me this thing doesn't look cool. And not only does it look cool, it also performed really well and was super convenient. But let's start with the POV video. I will give you a little bit of a voiceover so you can hear and see me struggle with the manual focusing. But it ended up okay. I'm kind of getting better with it. Of course, it's still a challenge, but it's all good. And after that, I'm gonna give you the pros and cons about this setup, what I like, what I don't like, and was it a good decision to get this setup? Let's go. All right, voiceover mode activated. So one of the things that I noticed right away is that using a manual focus lens is definitely slowing you down. You can see here how I use the manual focus peaking to kind of dial in my focus, and it took me some time to actually be able to hit the shutter. And that's kind of like the story of this shoot. I had to really slow down, take my time, find focus, and then hit the shutter. And every time I tried to do it faster and I wasn't patient enough, yeah, I missed focus. So same thing here, I'm using the fence and I'm finding my frame, and then I am slowly trying to find my focus, making sure that I get a sharp image. And this day was actually a really good example of that you not always have to have epic clouds in the sky that catch fire. Sometimes having a more minimalistic approach or using your surroundings, for example, structure and buildings to fill your frame, or even reflections to make your photo stand out even more, and that can make for a great photograph as well. For me personally, this approach is my go-to method, and I always try to use subjects around me to frame my shot. So that's why I'm always on the lookout. I look around and find my subject, and then I find objects. What do I have in my surrounding area to be able to use in my frame to make this look more interesting? And the beautiful thing is that there are so many objects around you that you can use for your advantage that you're almost never gonna run out. It was a pretty chilly day. I think it was like 28 degrees or something like that. So we were walking a lot. And once we found a spot, I dialed in my composition, and I definitely had to check a lot of times on my lens if my aperture was still okay, if my focus was still okay, and always readjust, because one of the things about the lens that I'm using is that the aperture is not clicky. It's a smooth aperture, which sometimes can be a drawback because you can easily bump it, or when you put it in your pocket, it might change. So I always had to recheck. So at this location, I was actually waiting for about 10 minutes because I found a frame that I liked. I loved the lineup of the bridge, the leading line, the way that the sun and structure shaped the light. So I got a variety of shots here, which I'm stoked about. And a great lesson happened right after, which is turn around. I always preach it. I saw this frame, and the only reason I did is because I turned around. So turn around, people. Turn around. Unfortunately, my camera stopped recording after this shot. I don't know why, but here are some more of the photos that I got that morning. So I decided to go out at night too, to see how it would perform at night, and I have to say it's definitely way more difficult than I thought it would be. This one was a decent shot that I got because I could take my time. Then I tried to shoot through a window because I thought it was an interesting frame. I totally messed it up because I missed focus because I rushed it too much. And unfortunately, that continued throughout the whole night. I missed a lot of shots because I missed focus, and I think it's mainly because of the aperture being lower so I can let in more light. Also, the focus area is smaller, and so there's a higher chance of things being more out of focus, and that's exactly what happened. But here are two shots that are actually in focus, and that turned out alright. So one lesson that I've learned from this shoot is definitely to slow down and take my time, especially with this combo and the manual focus lens. You really have to take your time to dive things in, get comfortable to be able to get good results. Because what happened to me, as you could see and as I mentioned before, especially at night, every time I rushed, I missed a shot. Every time I took my time and I checked my aperture, checked my ISO, checked my shutter speed, basically checked all the settings to make sure everything was on point, that's when I got a good result. Another thing that I learned, and that's definitely on the positive side, is that I love carrying around this small profile of a camera setup, because I was just able to put it in my pocket, in my hoodie or jacket, and whenever I need it, I was just pulling it out, getting my shot, put it right back in, which is great because you're way less visible to other people as if you would take around and carry around a full frame camera that has a larger profile and that you can't just put in your pocket. So with this setup, you will look more like a tourist and somebody that's taking some snapshots than a professional photographer, which I don't mind at all. I love to blend in, makes it easier for me. And that brings us to one big reason why I decided to pick this setup up, is the convenience of having such a small profile. Now, of course, I could have gone with something else like the Fuji X100V or the newer model of this, which is the Fuji XE4, but they come with a price tag. And I was able to pick up this setup for way less than it would have cost me for a X100V or the XE4. Now, of course, going with an older camera like this, there are some downsides. Now, it does not have 4K video. It does not have a log profile. So for video purposes, it's not ideal. The XE4 is definitely more capable that way, but my intent wasn't really with a priority on video. Mine was more of a priority on actually getting shots, being able to carry something around that I can take photos with. So this is for me mostly a pure photography camera. Now, the reason I chose this camera over the X100V is that you can change lenses on this. So I have all the Fujifilm X mount lenses and put them on here if I desire so. But for right now, I'm gonna stick with this manual focus lens because I really enjoy the slow down process and the experience you get. It's almost kind of like a film camera experience. And I really enjoy that. If I just want to do some run and gun shooting, I'll go ahead and take my EOS R. But if I just want to go out and really have fun shooting, taking my time, slowing down, I'll take this guy. If I would have to decide on one bad thing and one good thing about this camera setup, then I would say a good thing is definitely the convenience of having such a small form factor, but such a good image quality. That's like a really good combination. And when it comes to the negative side, I think one thing that I missed a lot coming from the EOS R is a flip screen. which I know that the XE4 has, and I think that's a really good addition. So I think those things are probably the things that would stand out the most for me as of right now. Overall, I really enjoy this camera. I love the small form factor. I love to be able to take it with me wherever I go and get good picture quality. And as a pure photography camera, this thing is a little beast. All right, and that's it. That's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this little POV Philly edition. If you did, give it a like. Maybe even put down in the comments which photos of the ones that I took in Philly you liked the most. I'm curious what you guys think. If you have any questions, put them down below, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.